Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of our vlog where we detail what it's like to live with a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, PHEV. So, in part 1 we did the Volvo S90 T8 Inscription Plus, and for some of you guys who maybe find the S90 a bit too big, a bit too much like a dignitary's ride, we are going to do part 2 with something a little bit more compact, a bit sportier, something that kind of fits the daily grind in the city a little bit more. So S60 T8 R Design, as the name suggests, it's a smaller car than the S90, but as the T8 suggests, it's the same powertrain. So you get the same 407 horsepower combined output as its bigger brother in a smaller package, in a sportier package, because our design. But it's of course not exactly a sports car because the S60 now in CKD form is also one of the first Volvos in Malaysia to receive the 180 km per hour speed cap. In terms of first impressions for the interior, if you've just come off part 1, you may think there's not much difference from the S90. Everything looks very familiar. Well, the most obvious difference is that there is no more wood trim, so you get this textured aluminium trim instead. It doesn't have posh niceties like the Oroforce crystal gear knob, but you get one extra toy, which is this Panoramic Sunroof. So as you can see, I have an rather unsightly cable going through the front door of my house because what to do, I don't have any plug points in the porch. But yeah, had to charge because all of the battery was basically depleted in the first day itself. Not surprising because even though this is a PHEV, it very much wants to behave like an EV whenever there's juice. So yeah, that's why within the first 30-40 km of driving that I've done in day 1, I've basically clocked an average of just 1.2 liters per 100 km, which is well below the already very low average of 2.1 liters that is quoted in the catalogue. Charging infrastructure in Malaysia is not as bad as some people think. Charge EV, for example, they have over 300 stations nationwide, and nearly a third of them are right here in the Klang Valley. You can benefit a lot from running a PHEV if you are rigorous with your charging. So for example, if you use a car just for work every day within a 20-30 km radius, your car is effectively a full electric vehicle because this car tries its best to not use any fuel when it can. Okay, since the purpose of this vlog is to kind of assess how the S60 performs on a day-to-day basis, we are not really going out of the way, traveling far and wide. Most of the time I'm driving it is to work, back home, running errands, that sort of thing. So it's very short journeys, a lot of it through traffic, not a lot of opportunities to really gun it. Believe it or not, my average has dropped even more now. It's on 0.8 liters per 100 km. Yeah, I've done about 50 clicks, so I've used about 400 mLs of fuel since I've gotten this car. It's been 3 days, yeah. Yeah, astounding. Now, surprisingly for Volvo, the suspension for this car is a little bit on the firm side. Not in a bad way, not for the most part. I mean, you do feel some bumps and potholes a bit more than you'd like, but overall it does feel planted in control. Steering there's a bit of free play. I mean, it's an electric steering, it could be more engaging, but again, not exactly the kind of car you take for a track day or a spirited run, I'm getting. But otherwise, very pleasant. And of course, you have all of the minimalism. Back then, with old Volvos, even something entry level like the S40, you had way too many buttons. They may have kind of overcompensated in some ways, because right now there are, I would say, not enough buttons, because everything is condensed into this vertical touchscreen. Volvo calls it sensors, the infotainment. For the most part, it's pretty good. Very responsive to use, very easy to understand. But yeah, you can look at this, that's a lot of things to control, but that's the reality with cars with a lot of tech on board these days. You have just so many things to control.
Hi Daryl.
Hi driver.
Super.
Okay, in case you're wondering why I'm suddenly in the back seat, well, heading home now after a day at work, and Tariq here wanted a ride back. These days, no free rides, no free lunch lah. I mean, I told him he wants to ride back, he have to become driver for a while lah, so I can finally put the rear seat to the test. How's it like in front, Tariq?
I'm okay. I'm in my optimal driving position, boss.
And even then, plenty of legroom for me. Actually, I was expecting something a lot cozier compared to the S90 that you were driving last week, but it's actually not bad. The all black interior kind of gives you the idea that it's smaller than it actually is, but where I'm sitting, it's very comfortable. Plenty of legroom, headroom as well. It helps that there's this giant piece of glass here. It lets in a lot of light. Very, very airy. But yeah, surprisingly spacious actually.
I agree. I mean, I think you remember I noted in the S90, though it's actually very spacious, you can fit tall and wide people there as we tested.
Yeah.
The absence of a sunroof kind of does make it feel a bit cramped and, dare I say, a bit more moody lah. This one, much nicer.
It's just that the rear bench, again, like in the S90, it feels a bit like a two-seat bench. Then the middle seat feels a bit useless because of this bit in the middle here, but it's not just the transmission tunnel. Again,
it's the battery, right?
The SPA platform, which puts all the electronic components, kind of like the electrical spine of the car, right in the middle.
Like that. Daryl, we still haven't used a single drop of petrol.
Who needs a Tesla, right?
Oh! Shots fired!
So after nearly 3 days of behaving almost like an EV, the battery has finally ran dry. Interestingly, towards the end of Tariq's run yesterday, so kind of tells you who has the heavier ride foot among us. I've not been able to charge it since, which is not great news for Tariq, because he's agreed to take over the car as he's going on a short weekend getaway to Penang, and we thought perfect opportunity to see how the car behaves on long journeys. The most immediate drawback I can think of for him is that the car may not be as silent as we know it's capable of, and that, well, it may not be the most intoxicating soundtrack to have on a long road trip either lah, because at the end of the day it's still 4 cylinders, but powerful though. 2 litres, turbocharged, and it has 320 horsepower alone, engine alone. So even if you take a huge chunk of it towards recharging the batteries, that's still quite a lot to have fun with. So yeah, I think he'll have some fun on the highway. We'll see how it goes for him.
Here you go, bro. Okay, I'm off for my vacation. Ciao!
Have fun!
Always fun! Another day, another zero emissions discovery, and today by chance, with the craving of char kway teow, went around the Penang town to look for some of the best, and I've never tried this one. This is the famous left-hander uncle's one, and surprise, surprise, char kway teow I know is going to be good, but what's also fun to note is that in front of his shop, got charging point! Look at that! Spectacular! Haha!
how's Penang lah with the S60?
Oh, spectacular lah, wey. The autonomous driver assist all damn cool. The only thing that hampered it was probably the amount of lane hoggers on the highway. God. But the electrification, yeah, even with sporadic charging using the engine to and fro, it's still a very efficient thing to be in, even for a leisure outing like that. And I loved how, you know how Penang parking is a bit difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that, you know, this car has autonomous side parking. Oh, that helped me a lot. And
So you're saying you can't park without it, is it?
I can, but it helps, man. I gotta give it to you. Hats off to you for meeting the factory claim of 2 liters per 100 km consumption. In my hands, I did peak at about 8.5 liters per 100 km, but I managed to reduce it down to 7.5 liters per 100 km, and I'm safe to report that on a full tank with some charging, even on the go. The S60 will do KL, Penang, a round of Penang and Ipoh on a full tank before you need to refuel it, and that is pretty cool. The electrification just helps, even especially in the urban condition, even on a pleasure cruise like this. So yeah, man, heck of a car.
Most important question, can I have the key back or not?
Yeah. Okay lah, bro.
Thanks, man.
Okay lah, bro.
Only got 24 hours left, so yeah. Time for me to enjoy it before I have to go back.
Okay lah, bro. Thanks.
Bye. Thank God for memory seats. Very useful when you're sharing cars. Now, people talk about a future of self-driving electric cars, and to some it sounds very bizarre, very far-fetched, but in some ways this car kind of presents you with a stepping stone towards that future. It proves to you that such technologies can be integrated into your daily grind quite easily without changing your driving habits much. At just under 300,000 ringgit, it may not be the cheapest compact luxury saloon in the market in Malaysia, but a car like this is, you're essentially buying a milestone in automotive technology from a brand that in 2020 I would say is in its prime. So yeah, at the end of the day, a really solid attempt by Volvo to kind of bridge the gap between future technologies and the kind of luxury people have already come to expect in this segment in a single package. And I hope this video has given you a better snapshot of what it's like to live with a plug-in hybrid vehicle on a daily basis. I hope it's answered some questions, debunked some myths, and alleviated some fears. And if you like the video, I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.
After 2 weeks of vlogging, how do you feel like to vlog?
Fun lah.
Sure not.
It's fun.